was just talking with David Devil and Liz Kelly at the at Logos, the Journal for Catholic Studies, about this on their podcast a week or two ago. One of the first things one realizes in looking at the first great philosopher of the soul, Plato, is that there's nothing very personal about the soul. We modern people tend to think of ourselves as to use the language of Charles Taylor and actually Carl Trueman, whose book I just reviewed this last week for the genealogies of modernity. We tend to think of ourselves, well, first of all, as selves, and of ourselves as expressive individuals. So the purpose of human life is to be true to yourself, to find your true self, and to actualize or realize that self, that what's intrinsic to you. This seems to be the one place where we envision something as intrinsically good, ourselves. The thing is that it carries with it the notion that anything that comes from outside of you is heteronomous, is something inauthentic that needs to be purged away so that you can actualize yourself. You don't want to conform to society. It's all social constructs anyhow. You need to actualize yourself. Well, the thing is, we're so intrinsically social that there's really not a whole lot left to us if you take away the social, if you just debar it or rule it as heteronomy or some kind of social construct or something artificial. We're naturally social, so that leads us to pretty much reducing ourselves to a few twitches of nerves in the body whose feelings are to be realized. That's what Charles Taylor means by expressive individualism. If we look back to Plato, again, as sort of the founding father of the soul, which is not quite right, but it'll do for now. He tells us something altogether different. When you realize that you can know things, which you have done just the moment you realize that you can know things, you realize that you are by nature intellectual. And the intellect has as its particular capacity the power to participate in the being of another. Aristotle tells us that it's by words that the contents of one mind can be shared with another. And he tells us elsewhere that the mind is, in a certain sense, all things. What he means is that to know is to enter into, or to use kind of Platonic and scholastic language, to virtually participate in the being of another. To be marked with a soul, therefore, is not to be marked as having some kind of immortal integrity to yourself that you just need to protect and guard and keep safe, and all will be well. You'll be actualized. It's rather to be marked as one who has the capacity to go out of himself and to enter into the life of other things. We are naturally born for communion and community, and that does not limit itself at the communion and community we have with other human beings. We're really born for communion and community with the whole of being, everything that has form.